A second message to King Abdullah of Jordan. I pray that you are well. I spoke to you about Jesus, of which the Quran speaks many great things about. The Quran and the Bible speaks of Abraham also. Jesus spoke of Abraham as a father. He was called a father to many nations. His original name was Abram, renamed by the Lord as Abraham, because he was to be the father of many nations. Sarai, his wife, was renamed Sarah. She was promised a son by the Lord, and she did have a son named Isaac. Isaac then had a son named Jacob, whom God renamed Israel. But something happened before she had a son named Isaac. As Abraham and Sarah were waiting for the Lord to bless them with a son, God tarried, and Abraham and Sarah became very impatient, waiting for this promised son. So Sarah said to Abraham, "Have relations with our female servant Hagar, and she will give us the son whom God promised." They had a son through Hagar named Ishmael. He became the father of the Arab nations. But God came to them again and said, "No, this is not the son that I have promised you, but I will bless her and make her many nations as well." And she had a son named Ishmael, and many nations came through him. Genesis chapter 21, verse 1 to 4. Then the Lord took note of Sarah, as he had said. And the Lord did for Sarah as he had promised. So Sarah conceived and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the appointed time of which God had spoken to him. Abraham called the name of his son who was born to him, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. The promise of a son was given to Abraham, and this promise of a son was Isaac. And through Isaac came Jacob. The Bible refers to this as the son of the promise, the son of the covenant, of which the promise of a Savior will come, who is Jesus Christ the Lord. The Bible goes on to say that something happened to the relationship between Sarah and Hagar. Genesis chapter 1, verse 9 to 14. Now Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, mocking. Therefore she said to Abraham, "Drive out this maid and her son, for the son of this maid shall not be an heir of my son Isaac." The man distressed Abraham greatly because of his son. But God said to Abraham, "Do not be distressed because of the lad and your maid. Whatever Sarah tells you, listen to her, for through Isaac your descendants shall be named. And of the son of the maid I will make a nation also, because he is your descendant." So Abraham rose early in the morning, took bread and a skin of water, and gave them to Hagar, putting them on her shoulder, and gave her the boy, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered about in the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water in the skin was used up, she left the boy under one of the bushes. Then she went and sat down opposite him, about a bow shot away, for she said, "Do not let me see the boy die." And she sat opposite him, and lifted up her voice and wept. God heard the lad crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, "What is the matter with you, Hagar? Do not fear, for God has heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him by the hand. I will make a great nation of him." Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the skin with water and gave the lad a drink. God was with the lad, and he grew, and he lived in the wilderness and became an archer. He lived in the wilderness of Haran. And his mother took a wife for him from the land of Egypt. she was mocking Sarah because she didn't have a son, and Hagar did. And that brought animosity and jealousy from Sarah. Through Sarah came Isaac, and through Isaac came Jacob, and through Jacob came the nation of Israel. And through Hagar and Ishmael came the Arab nations, Islam and the Islamic people. Since the enmity between Sarah and Hagar, there has been enmity between the two peoples, Jews and Arabs, Muslims. And if both have the same father, Abraham, and therefore brothers, why the hatred and war against one another that still exists today? To make it perfectly clear, not all Jews and all Arab Muslims hate each other. The covenant of God's favor rests on and with the nation of Israel and the Jews. However, all those who put their faith and trust in Jesus Christ the Messiah, God's favor rests on and with them also. God is great. He can make a river of refreshing in a barren land or desert. Psalm 105, verse 41. He opened the rock and water gushed out. It flowed like a river in the desert. Because God is great. He can make, instead of the thorn bush, the cypress juniper come up. He can make, instead of the nettle briars, the myrtle come up. Because God is great. God is one. And if one, there must be but one plan. And since he is one, God must have created Muslims, Jews, and all other people in the world as one. After that thought, because God is one. The similarity of Jesus and terrorism, except the difference. The similarity of Jesus and terrorism, except the difference is Jesus' death greater than terrorists' death. Revelation 5, verse 9. They sang a new song saying, "You are worthy. Take the scroll and open its seals, because you were slain, and with your blood you purchased for God people from every tribe and language and people and nation." Jesus died not for himself, but for all kinds of people, not for his own glory and his own entrance into heaven. Jesus made himself transparent to all, even before those who planned to kill him. He went through all the shame that the Roman cross of that day brought. He stood up before his accusers and executioners, and then died of a terrible, slow, agonizing death. He died for the whole world to see. The most astonishing of all was that he died for his enemies. With his blood, he purchased for God people from every tribe, in every language, and people and nation. The terrorists, on the other hand, at first glance, might have died for Islam, but with a further review, they died for themselves, not for others. They died for their own glory. They died for their own entrance into heaven. They killed their own self, not wishing to suffer shame before their enemies. This denotes cowardice on their part. Blowing themselves up was quick, not slow and agonizing. They sneak attack people who are unaware before they kill them. This is a short message, but it's been an honor and a privilege to speak to you about such matters, King Abdullah. Jesus says in John 14:27, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me." Matthew 11:28. My yoke is easy, my burden is light. Matthew 11:30. Till next time, King Abdullah, take care. And again, I pray that you are well and stay well.